Hi everybody, lovely to see you all. It's Joe Woodruff here from Bedford in the UK. Welcome to my week 4 course Era Music Production assignment. Demonstrate how to use a specific compression plugin, namely the Sonitus X2 compressor, which comes with the Sonar X2. And my goal here is to do this in under 5 minutes, which will be a first for me. Okay, let's zoom into the Sonitus FX compressor. First, let's remind ourselves the aim of a compressor is to decrease the high portion of a signal, the high amplitude portion of a signal, and increase the low amplitude portion of a signal. Now, the first thing I want you to look at is this window here. It shows you the transfer function, which is this line in the middle. On the horizontal axis, we have the input of the track that we want to compress, and it's measured in decibels, 0 being the highest possible decibel. It's decibel FL. And on the vertical axis we have the output after it has been compressed. Now, in order to reduce the high amplitude portion of a signal, we have to select a threshold at which compression is going to occur. Say if we set it at negative 30 decibels, that means from our input any portion of the signal which is greater than negative 30 decibels is going to be attenuated. The extent of the attenuation is given by the ratio. At a ratio of 1 to 1, there's going to be no compression at all, because the input is the same as the output. But as we increase the ratio, the extent of the compression increases, all the way to 30 to 1, where it's basically horizontal, in which case nothing above negative 30 decibels is getting through the signal. Another thing to think about is the knee. That is how hard this angle is. It ranges from 0 decibels, which is a hard angle, all the way to 30, which is a very soft angle. And of course you have attack and release. Attack is simply how quickly the compressor comes into play after a threshold has been breached. Now you have to be careful not to set the attack too low, because oftentimes the onset of the signal is the loudest and it has important information to do with timbre. And if you set the attack too high, the compressor will come into play too quickly and it'll clip that information. So you might just want to give it a bit of space. The release is simply how quickly the compressor stops coming into play after a signal is finished. And you can bypass any changes made in this just by selecting the bypass button. Oh, and of course, if you want to increase the low amplitude portion of a signal, you go to the gain, this slider on the right, and you raise it, and you can see that the low amplitude portion is being raised as well. Okay, let's set that aside and look at the DAW. Here I have a track from a symphonic rock composition. This is the drum track, and you can see it's spliced from two sources. One is a high amplitude source, the other is a low amplitude source. So what I want to do is use compression to even out the differences between these two segments. But first take a listen. Okay. So first of all, we want to attenuate the high amplitude portion of the signal. So we go to the threshold slider and set a threshold at, say, negative 24 decibels. Then we'll select a ratio, let's say about 4, so it's not too steep. And then we're going to increase the amplitude of the low end. So we'll raise that about 12, and you can see that the amplitude is increased. Now this is already a polished drum track, which I've imported from somewhere else, so I don't want to do too much to it. So I'll let the attack come in a little bit late. Same with the release. Okay, let's have a listen. Go to the beginning. Just pay attention to the drum track, but I'll play you the whole thing. Okay, thanks for listening. I've really found this invaluable. I never thought teaching like this would be a great way of learning, but it has proven to be. Okay, thanks and all the best.